I forgot to share the right screen. But so for today, we will be, as Adan has rightly put it, we'll be hosting the MMU team. Here we go. Who did quite well in the DeepRacer and were really good at what they did. Congratulations to them. Before that, there are a few just housekeeping rules that I feel like we should make some announcements on. Number one, I think if you're a volunteer, if you're part of the volunteers at the user group, we've already finished the letters. The first batch has already gone out. The others are coming in by end of day, and I'll just give you an example. So here is how they look like. The letters that we're about to send out. So be patient. We'll finish that by end of today. The next thing also, there's also the certificates for the DeepRacer participants. They're also in the pipeline. One of you obstacles that you're facing, but they're also in the pipeline and we'll be able to send them. So be patient. Thank you for your patience as we finalize those letters, and I know they're very important to you guys. So with that being said, I think I'll let Kinsley go on. Kinsley, I think if you're there, you can go on.
Hello, yes, I'm here. So I can share my screen. I created a PowerPoint presentation. So if that's okay, I can start sharing it right now. Is that okay, Mark?
Yes, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, let me share it right away.
Are you able to share your screen?
Yes,
There you go.
I'm sharing it. Is it okay? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So first of all, I'd like to introduce the team. So we have Sherry Ngota. She was the technical mentor at the AWS Community Day. We had Collins Temoy, the MMU AWS Cloud Captain. And then we have Anderson Masharia, my partner. We were racing with him. And then there's Kinsley Kaimenye, also the team lead racer. So without further ado, I prepared this slide in a way that I could talk to you about what is AWS DeepRacer, the prerequisites, and some of the scholarships that AWS is offering after you do the AWS DeepRacer League, and also and what we did to win the AWS DeepRacer. I hope that will be enough, and if it won't be, I'll be open for more questions from you guys. So I will start right away. So what is AWS DeepRacer? To me, when I first heard of AWS DeepRacer, I was actually going to apply for the AI programming with Python on a degree. So from the very beginning, it was like a starting point for me to learn AI and get a scholarship actually to learn AI. But the moment I got into AWS DeepRacer, I was able to get introduced to reinforcement learning and machine learning. And it gave me a glimpse of how powerful AI was and how machine learning could be used to solve some world problems. As you might all know, machine learning can't solve all the problems, but it can solve some, and at some cases, most of the problems. It all depends on the problem that you're trying to solve. So DeepRacer made me feel accomplished after creating a reward function. That is very true. That is when I was training the autonomous car, the model at the Student Replacer League. And it also deepened my understanding of reinforcement learning, because basically the key point of creating a reward function is to try and reward a model so that it can be able to try its best to probably behave or act in the right manner so that it can get a reward. It's like trying to train a dog. The moment a dog does a command yenye umeipatia, you give the dog a reward, right? So the moment you command the dog to do something else, it will try its best to follow your instructions so that it can be able to get that reward again. So that's the same thing with reinforcement learning. Basically, giving the model, the artificial intelligence model, a reward every time it achieves something based on your instructions on the reward function. So I'll go to the next slide. What are the prerequisites for you to join the AWS student DeepRacer? Actually, you don't have to really know anything about machine learning or artificial intelligence. You don't have to know any programming language. You're okay. It's completely for beginners. So what happens is that the moment you get to the AWS DeepRacer website, I'll show you the link on a different slide. The moment you get to the DeepRacer website, you are able to be introduced, to be given 20 hours of learning content. That is 10 hours on an introduction to machine learning and 10 hours on an introduction to reinforcement learning. Those introductions serve as the fundamentals of what ML is. It also gives you an intuitive idea of what is a reward function and how useful it can be in reinforcement learning, and also how to create one that is, the best reward function, the reward function that the model can be able to perform optimally. So, guess what? It doesn't end at the intro to machine learning and reinforcement learning. The 20-hour free content on ML and RL is just but the first thing that you get to enjoy when you go to the AWS DeepRacer. That is because the moment you apply for the AWS AI/ML Scholarship, the moment you complete the DeepRacer League at the application stage, the moment you complete the first 2 courses, you'll be able to enjoy another free program from AWS, and that is the Introduction to Generative AI with AWS. It's a 1-month free program for all learners. And here it is. So as you can see, on the picture, above the picture, there's a link to the AWS Amazon AI/ML Scholarship. So if you could take a moment, you can write down the link. For those who don't know where they can locate AWS DeepRacer, here's the link. So here's how the scholarships work. You complete the AWS DeepRacer, you apply for the AWS AI/ML Scholarship, you get a free learning content on the Introduction to Generative AI with AWS, the first one that is highlighted, or the second one on the row. So it is free for all scholarship applicants. After that, you work on the AI programming with Python and degree. So on last year, me and Mash, that is Anderson K. Masharia, my teammate, we were able to win the AI programming with Python and degree on the winter cohort. We completed and graduated on February, and we were able to pass our technical assessments that allowed us to be able to be given the second advanced scholarship, which is the Deep Learning and ML Engineer degree that is offered to the top 500 students. So you might not have started this scholarship journey, or you might be doing the AI programming, or you might be applying for the September, which is the winter cohort. I just want to tell you that you guys can be able to make it up to the deep learning, as I did with Anderson K. Masharia. And yeah, it's a really wonderful learning experience, actually. I won't get much into that, so I will go to the next slide. So that is the AWS Day Kenya. So apart from we used to have so many regular team meetings back with the MMU students. So we will even have tutorials whereby me and Marsh will teach the students at MMU how to create good reward functions. We will also hold discussions on how we can be able to come up with the best reward function to compete at the AWS Community Day event that was held in Nairobi a few weeks ago. So apart from the regular team meetings and the tutorials that we used to carry out, here's how we won the race. So we had to consider a couple of factors when we came up with our reward function. And they were really just five factors peke yake. I noted that if you want to come up with the best reward function, don't make it so complicated. if you give your model, the autonomous vehicle, a complicated reward function, yes, it might incorporate so many functions because it might incorporate so many input parameters that are offered by AWS. But at the moment you give it a complex instruction, it's not really the best. I don't know how I can explain this, but the simpler the instructions, the faster the model understands the reward functions, the instructions that we gave it, and the faster it implements or it tries to implement your instructions so that it can get the reward function. So this is what actually made us win the event. We were making sure that the model was able to stay close at the center line. This is so that we can make sure that by all means, all the wheels were on track. So that's the second point, all wheels on track reward. This also encouraged it to stay on the road, not to go off track. So we were penalizing it heavily for going off track or for going too close to the track limits. So if it goes too close to the track limits, it means that the autonomous model is going away from the center line, right? So if it goes away from the center line, we're supposed to be penalizing it so that it can be discouraged from going away from the center line and going closer to the track limits, hence encouraging it to go back to the center line to earn the reward for being closer to the center line. The second reward function, the second input parameter we used was the fourth one. I'm sorry for that. The fourth one was the speed threshold. So at first, it posed as a challenge because initially we would give our autonomous model a high speed threshold. So most of the times it was crashing, and sometimes it was actually drifting because we are forcing it to go at a higher speed on a corner, like an F1 vehicle, and it's trying its best to follow the center line. So guess what was happening? It was somehow drifting, and most of the time going off track. And we realized that it was going to cost us time. Every time the vehicle went off track, that means it had to be, it's some sort of a restart for it to be put back on the racing track. So every time it did that, we were losing 3 seconds. So we gave it a fairly minimum speed, a speed that it would be able to work with throughout the track after making so many observations of how it was racing. Okay. So after that, we realized that the vehicle was somehow not being steady. The steering wheel was turning a bit every time. So we also added a steering angle threshold. This is whereby we wanted the vehicle to be not to steer against some angles that we were not advising it to steer to. I really don't know how best I can explain that point. But basically the steering angle threshold, having a limited angle of steering wheel for the vehicle, encourages the vehicle to be steady while on straight lines, actually, on straight lines. Because every time it was somehow not being steady on a straight line, we are also losing time. Okay, so what are the key takeaways that I have taken after my first time to get into the AWS DeepRacer back in May, actually up to date? So the DeepRacer, the AWS DeepRacer, allowed me to get my hands dirty with the concepts of reinforcement learning. Back when I was in freshman year a few years ago, I would say I would hear about reinforcement learning, but then I wouldn't be able to know what it entailed. But then the AWS DeepRacer allowed me to know what this reinforcement learning was, and it also gave me an environment which I could be able to practice creating a reward function that would somehow teach the model on how to race around the track. So basically, all this was uh, facilitated by the simulation provided by the AWS DeepRacer, and also it was facilitated by the learning resources that we were giving at the AWS DeepRacer. So without further ado, I'd like to advise you to take time to learn about machine learning. It is really enjoyable. The AWS AI ML Scholarship is available for all of us if you're committed to learning and if you're really committed to trying to do the hard things and performing at your optimum level. Please do. Please compete each and every month if you can. Learn. These skills are available for us on the AWS AI ML Scholarship. You could also use deeplearning.ai. You'll meet a very famous guy called Andrew NG. I think he's part of the AWS board right now because he really offers some wonderful concepts on machine learning, deep learning, TensorFlow development, natural language processing. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope I have answered your questions zenye bado mkoniuliza. So if you have any other question or if you'd like me to tell you something about AWS DeepRacer that I didn't talk about, kindly feel free to ask a question or to even contribute something. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Kinsley. Maybe first question I'd ask, just maybe break down the structure of the machine learning scholarship and how it works, the AWS AI ML scholarship. Like, how was the application getting in and actually being shortlisted for the 500 people? Yeah.
Okay, so should I share my browser or should I
Yeah,
stick it
you
to
can.
this?
Just if
I
you want
can,
to
yeah?
browser and you can just walk through it, that would be great. Yeah.
Okay, let me share my browser right now. Let me stop sharing this PowerPoint presentation. It's So can you see my screen?
Yes.
My browser? Is that okay? Okay, so is everything visible up to now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I will search for the AWS student DeepRacer. I'll click it. So I hope you can see my homepage up
Yes.
to now. Okay, so right here, I told that you guys will be required to learn some content. 10 hours, intro to ML, intro to reinforcement learning. After you're done with learning all this content, you'll be given a test. It's a 30-question test, 3 attempts allowed. A minimum, you're supposed to score a minimum of 25 out of 30. That is the requirement for you to pass the test. So as soon as you finish this content, and passing your test, which only has 3 trials, now you will come to the homepage, you'll be given a code right here. So enroll in the scholarship program. So the moment you click on these, okay, I don't have the code because I haven't applied for the scholarship again. So I don't know how I can be able to display this. But the moment you're given a code here, it will take you to Udacity. So Udacity is the LMS, the learning management system that AWS has partnered with so that you guys can be able to be introduced to, so that you can be able to go through the scholarships. And I mentioned they were intro to generative AI with AWS, AI programming with Python on a degree, and the deep learning. So I will go to another tab right now. Sorry, can you be able to see my new tab?
Yes. I can see your screen.
Okay, let's give it a second to load. Okay, can you see the completed programs?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Udacity. I know they have partnered with Essential, as you can see right here. So this is the AI programming with Python and with degree. I can click review and show you some of the program's content. So once you get the scholarship and once you complete the intro to generative AI with AWS, this is what you will, this is some of the content that we will go through. So an introduction, a brief introduction, an introduction to Python for AI programmers. You go through that content. You'll be building some projects like this one right here. And then you will do NumPy, Pandas, and Matplotlib to be able to visualize your data. But you won't do it at an in-depth manner because you are learning to be an AI programmer, not a data scientist. Okay. So after that, you will do linear algebra. You do require the mathematics. Actually, okay, it's okay for you to have an intuitive knowledge on how linear algebra and calculus relate when it comes to AI or machine learning. But then I feel like it's really important for you to be able to understand the basics, which is the linear algebra essentials, which plays a crucial role when you are trying to work with deep neural networks. So it's also the calculus essentials, and then there's a neural networks, the AI programming with Python. So for this one, it was only some sort of an intro because they mainly focus on this content, on the neural networks. And then this is the final project, creating your own image classifier with PyTorch. This is the final project. After that, you pass, and then you can be able to do on some elective courses. These are some of the elective courses: career services, Git and GitHub. They help you do all this stuff. You can also, so on the career services, on this elective session, they partnered with Indeed.com so that you could be able to apply for jobs as soon as you are done with the first scholarship. But then I didn't really follow up on this one because I was looking forward into learning the second scholarship before I even started to apply for remote jobs out there in the market. Apart from that, this is the second scholarship that I'm currently working on. So I'll click on the overview. So there's an introduction to ML. There's and a project, obviously, predicting by sharing demand with Autoglone. There's an intro to deep learning. As you can see, 9 hours. This one was about what was it? Okay, it's 4 minutes remaining, but it's supposed to be more than 10 hours for this one right here. So after you cover introduction to deep learning, this is what you get to cover. And then there's the convolutional neural networks. There's a project landmark classification by and tagging for social media using CNNs. And then there's developing your first ML workflow. It's another huge project actually, because right down here. So for this one, for the advanced scholarship, we are normally given some AWS credits so that we can be able to work with Amazon SageMaker, EC2, some of the AWS services to be able to work on our projects with a real cloud provider, which is AWS. So I remember your question, Mark. You asked me what was how difficult, okay, how did I get into the program? Maybe how difficult was it? So when I first applied for the scholarship back in May, I wanted to join the summer cohort. I was initially rejected. Okay, I wasn't rejected, but I was waitlisted. And I had to keep on racing, and I applied for the winter cohort, which is the September cohort right here. I hope everyone can see it. It's on here. So it's not really hard to get into this program because I talked to Marsh, who was currently #1 in the AWS student DeepRacer back at that time. So I talked to him, hey Marsh, I was wondering, why were you rejected to join the May intake, and he told me that he wasn't aware, but we thought that maybe they wanted to have more people join the program on the winter cohort. That's why we were all waitlisted. So it's really easy, guys. It's just a matter of learning these concepts, doing the test, keep racing every month, and apply. That's all. It's not as hard. There's nothing hard, actually. There's nothing hard. I believe on a list of 2,000 people, you guys can top. So let me show you actually the student league. Something very important that I didn't show you. So every time you race, I haven't raced this month, so you won't see any of my data right here. So every time you race, there's a race leaderboard right here. It's a worldwide leaderboard. So you want to try and be on the top 200, or at least even the top 500. Because, okay, every time you race, just ask yourself this question. What is so different about the person who is the number one, the whole wide world? What does he or she have that you don't have? So the moment you have that mindset, you can be able to compete and even get top 100 or even top 50 worldwide. It's very possible. We did it with MASH over and over again. We did it by winning the AWS Community Day event at Nairobi that was held a few weeks ago. So it's really possible for you guys. And cheers. I hope I've answered everything that you've asked me, Mark. I'm not sure if I have.
Yeah, thank you. I think that was a deep dive. Maybe my other question would be, is this program self-paced, or is there a limited time? Like you have to finish this by this time so that you can be able to either proceed or something. So how did you do that? And if anyone has questions also, you can raise your hand and ask him. My other question would be, what was it, consistency or working with a friend of yours as a team to be able to kind of finish the whole program? Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much for your question. The learning here is self-paced, yeah? But the graduation dates are fixed. And I will show you with my completed program right here. Let me show you what I mean. So the moment you get into the scholarship, yeah, on the first month, they normally want you to complete the first project. So on the AI programming with Python on a degree, as you can see, there's the first project right here. And it's literally under the first learning content. Same case applies to my deep learning and ML engineering nano degree, which I haven't completed yet, that I'm working through right now. So you're supposed to complete the first project by the first project deadline. Failure to do so, you'll be revoked. Okay? Then I'll answer your second question, which was it consistency or teamwork? I feel like it's a little bit of both. You have to be highly consistent and you have to work with people. So on the AWS DeepRacer, we normally have sessions. So I will click on my AWS sessions right here. So we normally have sessions each and every week. So a few number of people are assigned to session leaders that will be able to help them if they had any problems throughout the week. So as you can see, these are my sessions for this second scholarship, for the advanced one. I have attended 6 sessions, or I've attended 5 out of 6 sessions so far. So what happens is that during the weekend, you have the chance to talk to a session lead and to your classmates during your session meetings and tell them, hey, but I faced challenge on ABCD throughout the week. Could you assist me in doing this and that? So that is where teamwork comes in. Other than that, it's all about your consistency throughout the week, because you'll be dealing with people who are on different time zones. Someone is in UK, another person is in Vietnam, there's another person in the US, China. So you don't really expect to text people on the Udacity Circle app. There's a community actually on Circle, and expect an immediate answer. But some people do actually reply, some people do actually even help you. So yeah, it's a little bit of everything. Oh, and by the way, I've actually come across something that it's very, very useful. Do you remember when I told you that you'll get a code to go to the Udacity to apply for the scholarship right here? I'm not sure if you remember. So when you go, can you see my current page, the student DeepRacer page?
Yep.
Yeah. So when you get the link, it takes you to the catalog, to the Udacity catalog right here. Sasa hapa ndio mali is where people apply for the scholarship. Right here. Right here on this page right here. So I hope I've answered your question regarding the learning and also the deadlines.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. I think that's great. I don't know if anyone else has a question, but I think you've done like a really good deep dive on this. But if anyone has a question, you can drop it on chat or you can unmute and ask. Otherwise, thank you very much for this presentation. I think this is very insightful and actually I've always thought AI ML is very, oh yeah, share a link to the scholarship. But I've always thought AI ML is very, what's this called? Hard. But I think if you do it project-based, you can be able to do it. Let me share the link for the scholarship here also. So there we go. Yeah. I've shared it on chat. I think that's admin who had asked a question. I think we'll also share it on LinkedIn and also on the WhatsApp group that we have currently so that people can be able to see it. Joel has a question. I think there's a Joel. Joel, yeah, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hi guys, I'm Joy. Oh, thanks Mark and the team for setting this up for us. We really appreciate. I want also to thank Kinsley for the beautiful presentation there. I didn't really know what DeepRacer is, but today actually I have a clear understanding what it is and what it entails. My key takeaway would be DeepRacer is actually more of AI and ML, which it's used to sort of solve real world problems. And the way I got it also in as a sort of step by step, or rather in instructions, like where you have to build, train, deploy models, and later on you have to sort of reward it. And rewarding it has also key factors that you have to consider while developing your reward function. Is that am I right on that, Kingsley?
Hello, Joel. Kindly, pardon, could you ask the question again, kindly, please?
Yeah, so what I'm saying is my key takeaway from your presentation was DeepRacer is more of AI and machine learning, which is a subset of AI, which is used to solve real world problems. And in the whole of that process involves building, training, and deploying ML models, and whereby later you have to sort of like reward the model, which involves key factors while developing the reward function for the model. Have I got it right up to that point?
Yes, you've got it right up to that point. And you should also note that as soon as you're done with machine
Yeah,
learning is really wide, yeah? You want
yeah.
to narrow it down to a more specific, to a more specialized thing. And if you'll be able to allow me, I'd like to show you right now. Let me share my
Okay.
screen again. Is that okay, Mark?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So can you guys see this page right here?
Yes.
So yeah, I mentioned about Andrew NG. He recently joined the AWS board on machine learning. So as you can see, as soon as you're done with the machine learning part, which is offered at the AWS section, you want to specialize in something a bit deeper. As you have seen on the advanced scholarship, this is I'm working through deep learning, right? But then
Yeah.
when you come to the deeplearning.ai, when you come to the deeplearning.ai website, we realize that Andrew NG goes at a deeper level of actually trying to portray these deep learning specialization, because okay, let me just click on the link and show you. So if you wanted to apply for this program right now, after you are done with the AWS program, or even if you wanted to start at the introductory, this is the machine learning specialization, you do realize that September, it's not far, but it can be a bit far if you really want to dive deep into machine learning. Sindio? So you could just come at the introductory part right here, click enroll now. Then you'll be taken to Coursera. So when you're taken to Coursera, and this is for everyone, it's not even only for you, Joe. This is an advice to everyone. You can click apply for a financial aid right here. So the moment you click for financial aid available, I'm able to apply for all these programs that are part of the machine learning
Okay.
specialization, all for free. Probably kuna mtu wako anajua this trick, but if you knew about it, that's okay. If you didn't know about it, this one can be a way for you to even start learning machine learning as soon as possible. Okay? Without paying for
All
this.
right.
Yeah. So yeah, you got it right. You totally got it right. I was just trying to show you that you can go deeper into natural language processing. You could go deeper to the TensorFlow data and deployment. Currently, I'm working on this program right here together with the advanced scholarship, because it's the same thing, but there are some concepts that are being covered by Andrew NG that are not covered on the Udacity, the AWS scholarship. There are some wonderful
No.
projects that are being done on the deep learning specialization that I haven't seen on the Udacity. That doesn't mean that Udacity is lacking. No, they really have some wonderful, projects. But then I feel like if I really want to understand this deep learning thing together with natural language processing and other things in ML really deeply, I ought to work on so many different projects before I can even, go to LinkedIn and tell people that I'm open to work or something. So yeah, I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, Kinsley, you have. Thank you for that clarification. My last question would be, in this scholarship registration, is it free or it comes with a sort of fee on it?
Come again. What is free? This one for deep learning.
No, the one for student deep racer, deep racer on
It's totally
AWS
free.
portal.
It's totally free.
It's a free.
Yeah, totally free.
Okay,
Just
thank you so
follow the
much.
steps that I have outlined, that I have explained to you, and it's a
Yeah.
scholarship, so it is totally free.
All right, thank you.
Yes. Any other question? So Mark, I will
Thank
give
you.
the mic back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I think the other question, someone needed link to the scholarship. That's already sent. And the WhatsApp group link also has been shared. Yeah, the WhatsApp group link has also been shared on the chat. So I think we are good to go in terms of that. Yeah, I think there are no more questions. Adeline, I don't know if you have anything else, but thank you very much, Kinsley. My last question would be, how are the Oraimo headphones treating you guys? Are they well? Are they good? Or ulishauza? I don't know.
Yo, thank you so much for the Oraimo headphones. They are really, really wonderful. I actually use them almost all the time. So thank you so much for the gift. I appreciate.
Great. Thank you very much. I'll give the floor back to Adeline to give a vote of thanks. Then I think we can close up. But thank you very much. I think that was such a good deep dive. We will upload this video on YouTube. I think he's covered a lot of really interesting things. We'll upload it on YouTube so that you can kind of access it and be able to kind of see the different, how the program works as such. Adeline? I don't know. Adele?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Kinsley and team, for that presentation. Maybe we can turn on our video. We take a photo and then we call it a session. Okay. Yes, so I'm waiting for Trevor, Alex, Michelle, Joel, Chad, Halima. Marco, were you able to take some screenshots?
Yeah, I've taken a bunch. The other guys I think are
Awesome.
there we go. Kinsley. Salute. Anyone
Okay.
else? Okay. Hi Halima, how you doing? Okay, hello. Trevor. Great. That's good. So I've taken a bunch. That's fine. As we close off, I think we could, I don't know if people want to say like where they're from. You can say it on chat as we leave, or just say hello if you want. You can say hello where you are from, then we close. But I'll be playing music as we go on. So guys can leave at their own pleasure. But I actually want Halima, where are you from? And I'd like to actually know where Halima is from.